The hall of the High Council floated in the void, a cathedral of steel and light suspended above a shattered moon. Alien captains gathered, their armored forms glinting under the soft glow of energy arrays, claws tapping impatiently against consoles. The room hummed with the quiet confidence of conquest, the kind bred from centuries of unchallenged dominion. "Observe the humans," sneered Captain Vrylox, his voice scraping through the chamber like sand over stone. "Their so-called weapons primitive. Laughable." He gestured toward the holographic projection hovering above the table. Flickering images of Earth soldiers, rifles clutched in trembling hands, danced in slow loops. "They call this a defense?" hissed Jarnak, tilting his head, eyes narrowing. "Bullets like pebbles tossed at a storm. I've seen packs of scavenger drones with more bite than their rifles." Another captain, smaller and more wiry, chuckled, clicking her claws in rhythm. "Did you see the footage? One man kneeling in the dirt, whispering to his weapon. A dance of a caveman with a stick. I almost—" She broke off, a vibration of laughter rattling her mandibles. "Careful," Vrylox warned. "We underestimate at our peril, but mockery is cheap and deserved." His claws traced lines on the holographic map. "Their fleets are non-existent. Their energy output is laughable. They have no shields, no plasma cannons, nothing but noise," another finished. "Loud toys." The chamber erupted in a chorus of mirth. Alien voices, harsh and layered, echoed off the polished walls. Across the galaxy, billions of their subjects laughed with them, tuning into broadcasts that highlighted humanity's supposed incompetence. Children mimicked rifles, politicians sneered on live feeds, and meme machines churned endlessly, humans firing at rocks that exploded harmlessly in their faces. Yet, in the midst of their amusement, not all were fully satisfied. Jarnak leaned closer to the projection, claws hovering over his console. "Vrylox, humor aside, look at the single figure in the desert. Kneeling, steady. Every movement, deliberate. Not panicked. Not confused. He watches as if expecting something." Vrylox scoffed, though a slight crease formed above his mandibles. "He waits, yes. But waiting does not equate to capability. A skilled hunter can be ignored until the predator strikes. Then it dies." Another voice, silky and cold, broke in. "Suppose he is more than rumor? Earth's armies are laughable, yes, but this one, man, could he be dangerous?" The room froze. Dangerous? The word hung in the artificial atmosphere like a foreign scent. No captain had ever considered that a human might transcend its primitive technology. Vrylox waved the notion aside. "Impossible. Even if this myth exists, it is a ghost. A shadow told in bars and quiet corners. Humans are creatures of impulse and fear. They die before mastering a rifle, let alone defying fleets. Prepare your speeches. This is theater, nothing more. The galaxy will watch and laugh, as it always has." Jarnak's claws tapped the console again, slower now, deliberate. "Yet, notice how he kneels. The projection shows him whispering. Not at anyone, not at anything, at the rifle itself. How odd that a tool could command such attention. There is intent here. Method." "Method?" hissed another captain, offended. "We deal in war. Strategy. Firepower. Precision measured by machines. You speak of method like superstition." The smaller captain leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Perhaps. But superstition can be powerful. Fear often begins where mockery ends. Remember that. I sense amusement may turn sour." Vrylox's gaze hardened. "We will see." He rotated a claw over the holographic controls, replaying a sequence of the human kneeling, adjusting his rifle, eyes cold and steady. The council watched again, the galaxy's laughter captured in every frame. "Yes," Vrylox finally said. "Amusing. Tragically so. Yet keep your eyes on the single figure. A ghost if rumors are true. Watch him, catalog him. And laugh, for now." The chamber settled into a tense quiet, the echoes of laughter lingering like smoke. Somewhere in the void beyond, alien warships thrummed, ready for conquest, confident in superiority. But beneath the laughter, beneath the polished pride, a sliver of curiosity that tasted faintly of unease, had taken root. Billions across the stars laughed at Earth's helplessness, yet in the shadows of their own certainty, a whisper of doubt began to stir. And the human at the center of it all, unknown, unproven, yet unwavering, waited. On a dusty plain in a forgotten corner of Earth, the wind scoured the landscape like sand through glass. The sun, low and cruel, cast elongated shadows across the cracked earth. A single figure knelt among the rocks, rifle resting lightly against his shoulder, eyes tracing the horizon with deliberate patience. He was small, unassuming, yet every movement radiated an economy of effort honed through years no one could imagine. "Steady, breathe," he murmured under his breath, almost as if the words were meant for the rifle itself. Fingers brushed the cold metal, adjusting the scope with a tenderness that seemed absurd, yet precise. Every click, every tiny adjustment, had a purpose. From a ridge not far away, 2 alien scouts observed through multispectrum optics. Their chatter was a static whisper, filled with confusion and disbelief. "I don't understand," one hissed, his tone trembling with frustration. "Why does he wait? Why whisper? Humans do not act like this. They panic. They flee. They scream." The other tilted its head, the ridges along its mandibles flicking nervously. "Perhaps he is more than human. Perhaps he commands his weapon, as one commands a living thing." The kneeling figure shifted slightly, breathing synchronized with the rifle's subtle hum. He traced a line in the dust with a finger, then erased it, imagining angles, trajectories, and distance in a language only he understood. He was not afraid. Fear was a luxury he had discarded long ago. Suddenly, a drone buzzed across the sky, a reconnaissance scout sent by the aliens. It zipped between rocks, scanning, recording, analyzing. The figure did not flinch. His eye met the drone's camera lens through the scope. He whispered something soft, a phrase that sounded like a prayer, a command, and then the rifle moved almost of its own accord. A single shot rang out. The drone spiraled violently, smoke trailing behind it as it crashed into the dust. The aliens froze in shock, claws gripping their instruments. "Impossible!" one hissed. "A single human! He destroyed our drone before it even detected him fully!" He remained kneeling, motionless, breathing calm and measured, as if nothing had happened. The desert swallowed the echo of the shot. "Do you see now?" the first scout murmured, voice trembling. This is not ordinary. He is the Whisper." The others' mandibles clicked nervously. "A myth," they said. "Nothing more than tales to scare children. And yet, he is real. And precise. Deadly precise." The figure adjusted his position, scanning the horizon again. Dust and heat shimmered, but he ignored them. He was listening, not to sound, but to timing, to rhythm, to the pulse of the environment. Every detail mattered, every fraction of a second could decide life or death. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher, relentless. Alien warships hovered beyond the edge of the atmosphere, hidden by cloaking fields. They had dispatched teams to test the human, to confirm if the myth of the Whisper was just rumor or reality. One by one, drones came. Each fell to a single shot, each neutralized without a hint of hesitation. From above, one scout whispered, almost reverently, He sees everything. Anticipates everything. Not human, I tell you! Not human!" The kneeling figure did not pause. His world was a balance of angles and wind currents, heartbeats and shadows. He adjusted the rifle again, murmuring a quiet cadence, a rhythm that guided his hand and eye in perfect harmony. A sudden movement caught his peripheral vision, a small group of alien infantry descending from the ridge. They thought surprise would give them advantage. They thought their armor and weapons would intimidate. They thought wrong. He exhaled slowly. Fingers traced the trigger. The first shot hit a power pack, sparks erupted. The second shattered a rifle, sending an alien tumbling into the dust. He did not move, did not even shift his gaze. Each shot was a statement, a quiet assertion of control over chaos. The aliens hesitated. Their numerical advantage meant nothing here. The Whisper was not just skilled, he was patient, calculating, terrifying in his calm. Panic flickered across their optics, subtle but unmistakable. From a calm channel above, a voice crackled. Report. Status? The scout's voice trembled. Impossible. He's destroying everything, and he hasn't moved from one spot. The voice hissed, sharp with disbelief. Pull back. All units. He is not human. I repeat, do not engage further until we have full analysis. On the plain, the figure finally rose, dust settling around him like a curtain falling. He carried no fear, no anger, only the quiet weight of inevitability. His rifle clicked into place, whispers fading into silence. A shadow passed over the sand, a drone falling, another retreating. The desert was empty once more, except for him. And far above, in the alien council, the murmurs of doubt grew. Whispers of a human who could kill before detection, a human who moved with intent and precision beyond comprehension. The myth was no longer distant. It had found form. And the galaxy, for the first time, paused. The horizon burned with the muted glow of alien energy fields. Through the jagged canyons, the Whisper moved like a shadow, his figure low against the cracked stone. The air was heavy with anticipation, every pulse of wind carrying the faint hum of approaching war machines. He didn't hurry. Haste was a human flaw he refused to indulge. Precision required patience. From the cliffs above, alien scouts peered down through augmented optics. He advances, predictably. One hissed. Too slow. He will die before he reaches the target. Underestimate him at your own peril, replied another voice trembling. I've never seen a human move like that. He is calculating. The Whisper paused, kneeling behind a rocky outcrop. He traced the terrain with practiced fingers, memorizing lines of sight, natural cover, and enemy approach vectors. He whispered under his breath, words lost to the wind, and yet carrying weight, the rhythm of calculation, of strategy, of inevitability. A squad of alien infantry emerged from the haze, weapons raised, scanning for movement. The Whisper exhaled slowly, calibrating the wind through the canyon. He whispered again, and the rifle seemed to align itself with his thought. The first shot echoed, a clean hit to the lead alien's helmet, sending him crashing into the rocks. The others froze, scanning, confused by the silence between shots. He waits. One alien muttered, voice edged with panic. He doesn't rush. He controls the moment. A second volley erupted from the squad. Energy bolts tore the canyon walls, throwing dust and stone into the air. The Whisper didn't flinch. He shifted slightly, a whisper guiding his fingers, and returned fire. Each shot found its mark, a chest plate, a weapon mount, a leg joint. The aliens staggered, their formation crumbling before a single human. From the ridge, an alien officer barked orders. Concentrate fire! Don't let him pick you off one by one! The Whisper's lips curled in the faintest smile, almost imperceptible. He didn't need cover, he needed angles. He moved, silently, calculating trajectory as he advanced. Every shot fired, every bolt dodged, felt choreographed. It was as if he could read the very pulse of the battlefield. The squad faltered, confusion spreading like wildfire. He anticipates everything. He is not reacting, he is preempting, one scout cried. The Whisper's voice was barely audible as he murmured a command to the rifle. The weapon seemed to hum in response. He fired again, 1, 2, 3 precise shots that disabled the hovering drone above the squad. Sparks rained down as the machine plummeted, a silent reminder of the human who could kill unseen. Fall back! The alien officer shouted, voice sharp with panic. Regroup! We are losing units too quickly! The Whisper didn't pursue immediately. Instead, he observed, calculating. The retreating aliens moved through predictable patterns, their panic dictating their path. He adjusted, whispered, and fired. Each target went down with silent inevitability, until the canyon was littered with disabled drones and injured soldiers. From a distance, alien warships hovered, energy shields flickering as they observed the battlefield. He dismantles our forces with, what? Human intuition? One commander hissed. No advanced AI could anticipate this. No training could produce this calm precision. The Whisper finally moved from his kneeling stance, rising into a crouch. His eyes scanned the horizon. Dust and heat waves danced around him, yet he remained unshaken. Every movement was deliberate, every choice a statement of control over chaos. He heard a crackle in the comms. The alien commander's voice cut through. We underestimated them. All units, pull back. We engage only after further analysis. The Whisper didn't respond. There was no celebration, no arrogance, only the quiet assurance of one who understood power through restraint. He advanced toward the next ridge, each step measured, each breath synchronized with the rifle's hum. He was not hunting, they were falling into the pattern he set, drawn into the rhythm of his strike. A single alien, separated from the rest, tried to flank him. The Whisper anticipated, adjusted, and neutralized him before the creature could raise its weapon. Another fell. Another. The field was quiet except for the soft hiss of settling dust and the occasional groan of the incapacitated. From above, alien leaders watched, disbelief etched into every ridge and fold of their forms. This human, he is rewriting everything we know, one muttered. Weapons, numbers, they mean nothing. He is a living algorithm, unpredictable yet precise. The Whisper moved to the center of the battlefield, rifle resting lightly in his hands. He surveyed the aftermath, silent, efficient, inevitable. Not a single step wasted. Not a single shot unnecessary. And yet he did not linger. His attention was forward, to the next challenge, the next wave, the next impossible calculation only he could perform. And somewhere, in the command deck of an alien flagship, the word spread quickly: the humans were not to be scoffed at. Not because of numbers. Not because of technology. But because of one man, the Whisper. He disappeared into the shadowed canyon, leaving a battlefield cleared with minimal effort, yet maximal impact. A myth made real. A whisper in the wind that would haunt alien fleets long before they set foot on Earth. The council chamber aboard the Varn Dominion flagship was vast, circular, and suffused with a cold luminescence that reflected off the polished alloy walls. Holographic projections of planetary systems flickered in midair, yet the room's attention was fixed on a single image, the Whisper, captured through surveillance drones during the canyon engagement. Impossible! Hissed Archon Velzarek, his six-eyed gaze narrowing on the human figure. He has destroyed a full platoon without losing a single man. His efficiency, it defies logic. Another council member, the commander of field operations, tapped a clawed finger on the projection. Our weapon systems were calibrated for tactical suppression. Yet he anticipates each strike, evades with perfect timing, and counters with lethal precision. We are outmatched, in a sense I cannot explain. Velzarek's mandibles clicked sharply. Outmatched? This is not mere inadequacy. This is an aberration. No species could display this level of coordination between instinct and intellect. We have underestimated humanity entirely. A junior tactician piped up, voice trembling. Archon, we could deploy heavy bombardment. Target him from orbit. No human could survive direct plasma bombardment. Velzarek's gaze snapped toward him. Do not underestimate him. Remember the canyon. One human, alone, dismantled our infantry. If we strike recklessly, we risk exposing vulnerabilities elsewhere. He does not fight as humans fight. He calculates, he manipulates, he shapes the battlefield itself. The chamber fell silent. The hum of the starship's engines was the only sound. Even the smallest click of a manipulator against the console seemed intrusive. Let us bring forward our strategist, Velzarek finally said. I want every known psychological and tactical profile of humans. Every engagement, every historical conflict. I want predictions. I want solutions. A holographic analyst materialized in the center of the room, fingers flicking through streams of alien data. Archon, all available intelligence on human combat shows unpredictability. Their weapons are simple but versatile. Their tactics rely heavily on ingenuity and improvisation, especially when a single operator takes control of the environment. The Whisper, he epitomizes this. Velzarek leaned forward, the articulation of his multiple jaws forming a tight rhythm of irritation and fascination. Explain this epitome. The analyst hesitated. He is not simply skilled. He does not act like a conventional soldier. He seems to anticipate outcomes before they occur. In the Canyon engagement, he predicted every movement we attempted. Our forces, no matter their technology, became predictable to him. Velzarek's claws rapped against the council dais. Then we do not fight him with numbers. We fight him with strategy that cannot be predicted. Every plan, every simulation must account for the unpredictable. He cannot be underestimated. The slightest miscalculation will cost us everything. One senior council member, the keeper of alien doctrine, spoke with measured authority. Archon, the human demonstrates an acute understanding of terrain, cover, and distance. Conventional assault tactics will fail. His actions suggest he has fought multiple engagements like this before. Perhaps on his own planet. Velzarek cut him off sharply. Enough speculation. He is here. Not on Earth yet, but within operational range. Our objective is containment and neutralization. You will provide me with an executable plan that adapts to his every maneuver. A murmur ran through the council. The room, usually confident in the Dominion's military supremacy, was heavy with tension. Humans were supposed to be primitive. They were supposed to be manageable. One man, one single human, had rewritten their expectations. The analysts projected a simulation, holographic representations of the Whisper moving through various terrains, neutralizing squads with terrifying accuracy. Archon, the analyst said, every scenario indicates that overwhelming force alone will fail. He identifies weak points, anticipates attacks, and uses minimal effort for maximum effect. Conventional war doctrine does not apply. Velzarek's mandibles clicked sharply, a sign of both agitation and fascination. Then we must innovate. Assemble a strike force. Specialists. Hunters. Not ordinary troops, but those trained to predict, counter, and manipulate the unpredictability. We will not underestimate him again. A junior officer whispered to the commander next to him. He is like a shadow. Silent, unseen, inevitable. Even simulations cannot contain him. Velzarek's gaze swept the room. Good. Fear is not weakness. It is a tool. Let it sharpen our resolve. Every operative must understand the stakes. Humanity is underestimated. One human is rewriting what it means to confront the Dominion. And we will adapt. Or perish. The Council's hum of activity intensified as subordinates prepared data streams, tactical simulations, and specialized units. Velzarek remained seated, his gaze lingering on the projection of the Whisper. There was respect there, veiled beneath layers of alien pride and aggression. A silent acknowledgement that the game had changed. Mark this, Velzarek muttered under his breath, almost to himself. He is no mere soldier. He is a force. And the moment we confront him, we must remember this lesson. Underestimate him at your peril. Underestimate him, and the Dominion will fall. Outside the council chamber, the stars stretched infinitely, indifferent to alien fears. Yet within that room, a quiet terror and fascination settled over the Dominion's leadership. One human had shifted the balance, not with armies, not with fleets, but with precision, patience, and instinct. The Whisper's shadow had already reached them. And Velzarek knew, deep within his calculated mind, that the real war had only just begun. The Whisper moved silently through the jagged ruins of the abandoned city, the wind carrying faint echoes of crumbling concrete and twisted metal. Every shadow was a potential threat, yet he moved as if the ruins themselves bent to his will, blending with their jagged edges, becoming invisible in plain sight. From the sky, streaks of light cut across the horizon, dropships from the Dominion, sleek and lethal. They carried the hunters, elite operatives selected specifically for their ability to track and neutralize anomalies. The Council had called them the Sentinels, warriors trained not just in brute force but in anticipating unpredictability. Inside one dropship, the leader of the Sentinels, Croth, scanned the city below with a cold precision. His mandibles clicked as he spoke into the calm. "We strike in formation. Divide into quadrants. He cannot predict all vectors simultaneously. Focus on containment first, engagement second. Do not underestimate him." Another operative hissed a warning. "Containment, you make it sound easy. Reports, simulations, he is unlike any human we have studied. One operator, alone, neutralized squads with coordinated precision. He is adaptive." Croth's gaze hardened. "Then we will adapt faster. He may anticipate patterns, but he cannot anticipate chaos. If he survives this, it will be because we allow it." The Whisper crouched in a high-rise shell, surveying the city through the broken glass of a window. He already sensed the presence above him, not by sight, but by subtle distortions in air currents and faint energy traces. His rifle rested lightly against his shoulder, a quiet extension of his intent. A flicker on the horizon, one dropship descended rapidly, engine screaming against the cold air. The others spread out, forming a perimeter. The hunters had arrived. Belzaric's voice echoed through the intercepted comm channels, filtered and alien, but unmistakable. "The human is to be contained. No unnecessary casualties. Capture or neutralize. Do not underestimate him." The Whisper smirked, a subtle curl of lips beneath his mask. "Underestimation is always their first mistake," he murmured. Croth's units touched down on the fractured streets, moving like shadows themselves. Each sentinel was a mirror of the Whisper's efficiency, agile, trained, precise. Yet even as they spread, the human anticipated every move. From his vantage point, the Whisper calculated. The sentinels would form a triangle, cutting off exits, relying on superior numbers. He would turn that expectation against them. He adjusted his scope, not to aim at one target but to orchestrate a chain reaction. The first shot echoed, a suppressed crack that dropped a sentinel before they even realized danger. Confusion rippled through the ranks. Croth barked orders, but hesitation had already crept in. "They move, too predictable," a sentinel hissed, dodging instinctively as another fell. "He knows us." The Whisper's next sequence was even more deliberate. He didn't fire immediately. He allowed the hunters to overcommit to their patterns. Then, each shot he took disrupted multiple vectors, an explosion here, a tripwire there. By the time the sentinels recalibrated, he had already shifted positions, untraceable and untouchable. Croth's mandibles clicked in frustration. "Split! Surround him! He cannot escape all quadrants!" But the Whisper anticipated their split. Using the ruin's verticality, he manipulated shadows and debris, creating illusions of movement. One sentinel dove toward a phantom, only to find the real target dozens of meters away. Panic flickered among even the most disciplined hunters. "Regroup!" Croth roared. "He is human. Humans cannot think this fast. Focus!" Yet each time they thought they cornered him, he vanished. The air carried only whispers of his presence, soft, precise, deliberate. For the first time, the Dominion's elite warriors felt the gnawing edge of fear. The Whisper paused atop a steel beam, scanning the battlefield below. He could hear their calm chatter, alien frustration bleeding through. "You think you control the battlefield," he whispered to himself. "But you don't even see it yet." Then he acted, not as a soldier reacting to threats, but as a strategist shaping reality. Traps were set, vectors manipulated, and the hunters found themselves fighting each other as much as him. Every corner became a maze, every shadow a potential strike. By the time the dropships hovered, evaluating from above, casualties mounted. Croth clenched his claws. "Impossible! How does one human do this?" The Whisper exhaled quietly. They never learn. When the engagement finally subsided, the Sentinels retreated to their dropships, battered and demoralized. Not a single human casualty, but the psychological mark was deep. They had confronted the unexpected, and it had outmatched them. From the shadows, the Whisper observed the ships depart. He knew this was only the beginning. Velzarek would escalate. The Council would refine their hunters, adjust strategies, and bring even greater forces. But for now, the city was silent, and one man had rewritten the rules of engagement. He slung his rifle over his shoulder and melted into the ruins, a ghost in a fractured world, leaving behind only the echo of impossibility, and the Dominion's growing fear. The Whisper crouched at the edge of the ruined overpass, surveying the city below like a predator observing prey. Smoke curled from the remnants of the last engagement, acrid and sharp, filling the air with the scent of burned circuits and scorched concrete. The Sentinels had retreated, but their absence felt temporary, like a shadow before a storm. Velzarek's message had been clear: failure was unacceptable. The Council demanded a new approach, one that relied less on numbers and more on terror. The Dominion was sending specialists, hunters designed not just to track, but to dismantle the very tactics that had saved humanity's most elusive operative. From his vantage point, the Whisper could see the first of the new wave approaching. Sleek, black ships pierced the horizon, moving silently, unnervingly. They carried the Predators, a class above the Sentinels, engineered for intellect and instinct, capable of coordinating in ways the Whisper had yet to fully counter. Inside the lead ship, the Predator's leader, Jaril, studied the city with a precision that made Kroth's previous frustration look almost naive. "He survived your hunters," Jaril hissed to Kroth, now subordinate. "Because he predicts, manipulates, and improvises. We will strip him of these illusions. He will have no advantage." Kroth clicked his mandibles in agreement, though unease lingered. "His adaptability, it defies expectation. He is a human, yes, but—" Jaril's voice cut sharply. "But he is not human in the sense you understand. We must change the environment. He thrives in ruins. We will create new terrain." Back in the city, the Whisper prepared. He had anticipated escalation and studied the new patterns of Dominion strategy, memorizing likely vectors, timing intervals, and potential manipulations. He was not merely waiting, he was shaping the battlefield before the Predators even set foot on it. The first drop was sudden. Explosions tore through streets previously untouched, a deliberate disruption meant to funnel him toward kill zones. Yet the Whisper moved with a calm precision, slipping between falling debris, using the chaos as cover instead of a trap. Each step was a calculation, each breath measured. From a shattered rooftop he spoke softly into the calm of his own devising. "They think destruction forces choice. It doesn't, it only narrows perception." The Predators spread out, attempting to form overlapping grids of surveillance. Their coordination was immediate, terrifyingly effective, except for one variable they could not anticipate. The Whisper's mind, honed by years of unseen combat, calculated not just probable movement, but probable miscalculation. He exploited every hesitation, every split-second doubt, converting it into opportunity. A Predator advanced through a collapsed alley, expecting to catch the Whisper as he emerged. A single shot rang out, not to kill, but to redirect, ricocheting off concrete, disorienting the hunter's sense of spatial certainty. Confusion, even among the elite, was as lethal as a bullet. "They move too fast, or I move faster," the Whisper muttered, slinging his rifle as he dropped into a lower level. The city's labyrinthine structure was no longer a ruin, it had become a chessboard, each shadow and broken wall a piece he controlled. Jaril's voice penetrated the calm interference, calm but cutting. "You survive because you predict patterns, human. But we will introduce randomness. Chaos beyond expectation." The Whisper paused, considering the new variable. "Then I'll make chaos predictable," he replied under his breath, and adjusted his next move. The Predators attempted to flush him with kinetic charges, but the Whisper's anticipation was precise. Each charge detonated harmlessly, detonated in patterns that disoriented the hunters themselves. Their communication, previously seamless, faltered as fear crept in. The humans of old had survived worse, but never against a predator who could think 3 moves ahead in seconds. From a vantage point above the skyline, the Whisper finally revealed himself. One by one, shots rang out, each deliberate, each calculated. A predator's tail fell from a ledge, another crumpled into a street below. The remaining hunters hesitated, unsure of the environment that now betrayed them. Croth and Jarro regrouped, realizing the first strategy had failed. "We underestimated his reach," Croth hissed. "We must escalate further." Jarrell's eyes narrowed. "Yes. But we escalate in precision, not force. Humans are fragile, but their minds, these are dangerous. He is not a soldier. He is an anomaly. And anomalies must be studied, dissected, neutralized." The Whisper exhaled, a thin plume of condensation in the cold air. "They call themselves hunters," he whispered. "But every hunt teaches me more than them." He readied his rifle again, aware that each confrontation only strengthened his advantage. He had become not just a survivor, but the architect of fear itself. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, the city lay in eerie half-light, smoke and dust curling like ghosts from the day's battle. The Whisper moved silently through the labyrinth, unseen, unheard, untouchable, a singular human standing against a machine designed to destroy him. And somewhere in the Dominion's command, Velzarik's frustration grew, the Council's impatience mounting. One human had become a symbol not of weakness, but of unforeseen resistance. Tonight, the Whisper had survived once more. Tomorrow, the Dominion would bring something new. And he would be ready. Night had swallowed the city, leaving only flickering embers and shattered neon to illuminate the ruins. The Whisper moved like a shadow among shadows, every step silent, deliberate. He had anticipated escalation, but nothing could fully prepare him for the Dominion's latest gambit. From orbit, Velzarik observed through his command lens, his many eyes narrowing. "He thrives because he controls perception," the Archon hissed. "Tonight, perception ends. Release the Apex. Let us see if a human can outread predators designed to think beyond him." The Apex were a new class of hunter, part organism, part machine, calibrated for rapid adaptation and lethal precision. They descended silently, landing with barely a whisper on the skeletal rooftops of the city. Each one's movement was predatory elegance, limbs articulated in ways that defied human anatomy, senses sharper than any hunter that had come before. The Whisper had already predicted their trajectory. He perched on a derelict water tower, surveying the terrain. The Apex would assume patterns, blind to the subtleties of human instinct. That was his advantage. "Predict the unpredictable," he murmured. "Always one step ahead." The first contact was abrupt. An Apex dropped from above, striking like a spear, metal talons aimed at the Whisper's midsection. He rolled, landing on a narrow ledge, twisting the trajectory of the attack just enough to glance the armor plating rather than pierce it. "Close," he whispered, scanning for the next. In the distance, Jarrell's voice came through the comm frequency, distorted by interference. "Human, you cannot survive this. Apex units learn faster than you can react. Do you understand the concept of inevitability?" The Whisper's lips curled into a faint grin. "I understand opportunity," he replied. He activated a remote device, sending out a pulse that emitted localized interference. The Apex faltered, momentarily disoriented by feedback their advanced sensors couldn't entirely filter. He moved swiftly, using debris and broken structures as both shield and camouflage. Each shot from his rifle wasn't just aimed, it was a statement, a manipulation. One Apex toppled over a crumbling wall, another was lured into a tunnel that the Whisper had rigged with kinetic traps. The battlefield itself had become his ally. Yet he felt the psychological pressure more than ever. The Apex weren't just hunters, they were analysts, calculating probabilities, adjusting tactics mid-strike. Every movement required instinct and cold calculation in equal measure. He felt his heartbeat echo through the rifle stock, but his mind was a blade of clarity. From his high vantage point, he whispered to himself, "They think in patterns. I think in possibilities." He lined up a shot at an apex advancing across a half-collapsed street, calculating wind, distance, structural instability. The bullet struck, not to kill immediately, but to disable a limb, creating a cascading effect that disrupted the formation of the other units. Velzarek's voice grew sharp, almost furious. "Stop him, Jaril! One human is not meant to survive an entire squadron of Apex." "Archon," Jaril replied, voice steady despite tension. "He adapts too quickly. We must force him into an environment where adaptation fails. Draw him to the central plaza. There, we hold advantage." The Whisper anticipated debate. He adjusted his path, weaving through half-collapsed buildings, silently observing the Apex's reactions. He realized the Dominion underestimated his mastery of terrain. Each building, each shadow, each line of sight was mapped in his mind, a tactical web invisible to his pursuers. A sudden explosion to the south forced the Apex to split, and the Whisper seized the moment. A precise series of shots disabled key units, leaving the remaining Apex in disarray. He moved closer to the central plaza, not blindly, but on his own terms, turning the intended trap into a calculated ambush. Finally, he reached a vantage point overlooking the plaza. Velzarek's forces had amassed, confident that the human would be forced into submission. But the Whisper's presence was ghostly, unseen until the moment he chose to reveal it. He exhaled slowly, lining up one final series of shots. Each Apex fell systematically, their adaptive intelligence unable to account for instinct amplified by experience. Silence returned to the plaza, broken only by the hum of residual energy from the fallen units. He lowered his rifle, chest heaving, mind already mapping the next challenge. "They think fear controls outcomes," he muttered, surveying the carnage. "But precision controls fear." And high above, Velzarek's fury was palpable. One human had turned calculated chaos into victory, exposing weakness in even the Dominion's most formidable creations. The Whisper had survived. He had not just fought, he had dictated the terms of battle. But he knew this was far from over. The Dominion would escalate again, pushing further, faster, smarter. And he would be ready. Always ready.